Okay, so when we look at Chuck, we can see what the end of the HIV epidemic looks like. What did Chuck do? I said it a little while ago. I think I actually said it. Chuck AIDS-proofed himself. He was dying. He knew it. His doctor knew it. His doctor told him, one more pneumonia and you're dead. It just can't happen. So, but he AIDS-proofed himself, and it took him about 2 days. You know, when he went back to his doctor the following week, and I talked to him, I guess, the next weekend or the week after or something. He was telling me his doctor said, "What have you been doing for yourself? Were you taking herbs?" You know? Too funny. He AIDS-proofed himself. And when Ashley and Bono and the rest of them go on that African tour, that's what they do for Africa. They show the Africans how to AIDS-proof themselves. Everybody's still hosting who was hosting before. They all still have HIV, but they're not going to die anymore, even if the government closes the roads and they can't get their drugs. And they have to go off the cocktail. And if they went back on it, they would crash. They wouldn't be able to tolerate it. See, you can't go off the cocktail and go back on it, usually. But even so, they would, they'd survive because they're AIDS-proof. Just like Kathy's son is flu-proof, and so is Kathy, and I haven't had a flu since 1993. I haven't even had one try to come on. This is what happens. You become immune. Now, of course, most of these people wouldn't even continue with it. So you're really talking about a long process. But for those, the bottom line is at some point, and it might only be a matter of months, everyone in Africa would know that you don't have to die of HIV. You don't have to die of AIDS if you're HIV positive, that there is a way. And even if you're not doing it and walked away from it or ignored it or whatever, you can get back to it. This is something you can go back on. Okay, you can walk away from it and forget about it, and then you can come back, So now, here we are, it's 2 months later, and Ashley and Bono were back in the United States doing another benefit to buy more drugs for the Africans. You see, let's put it this way. There's an 8-year-old girl who lives in one of the villages in Africa. And village is not far from the ocean. You can even smell the ocean from her house. She lives with her grandfather, who tends a little garden every day. And it's little, but it's big enough so that they eat really pretty good all year from it. And she's got a little dog who adopted her, who's crazy about her. And this girl is totally dependent on the drugs Ashley and Bono bought. Because even now, 2 months later, after this imaginary benefit, and now Ashley and Bono are giving another imaginary benefit, this little girl has absolutely no idea that you can kill HIV. She is not found out. No one ever told her. She's in this village. The tsunami. See, there has to be a tsunami, like an enormous tidal wave of cure has to be created that goes all the way to this girl in this village, and it hasn't been created yet. And so they're working on it, They're back, and this time there are 250,000 people at the benefit, and they're all getting signals, and Bono was saying, that you give a man a fish, which was giving them the drugs, and you feed him for a day or a month in that case. We give him a month's worth of drugs at a time. And you teach a man to fish, and you feed him for life. And we've taught them to fish now, and some of them are actually fishing, not all of them. And now we're going to, you know, give them another fish so that the ones who aren't fishing yet won't starve, and they can live to, you know, find out at some point that they better start fishing. And also, you know, a doctor comes forward, you know, who are, you know, there's a committee of the top HIV doctors at this new benefit, and he says, do not stop taking your drugs, because I know many of you are testing that you have 0 viral loads. It means nothing. We don't have a test now that can tell you that you absolutely do not have HIV, and we are working to develop one. We're about 5 years away from it, and it's going to cost maybe $1 billion to develop this. We're going to have to create a whole new kind of science to do this, because there are no tests that tell people that they don't have anything conclusively. There's no way to test for the absence of something, only for the presence of it. And so now, since you've been curing, we're actually trying to develop the science to test that you don't have something. So until that time, you know, if you're on the medications, stay on them. Now, you know, I'm talking to a guy named Nate who has been 5 years HIV positive, and he has never taken medication, and he has no problems, and is in perfect health, and he is on regular doctor visits to be retested. He's not had a herpes outbreak for 5 months, and also he only learned this about 5 months ago, and he doesn't even consider himself that good at this. And yet somehow he stopped having herpes outbreaks. And I'm not totally sure how, because I have not had a whole lot of time to talk to Nate, but I figure once I finish this movie, I'm going to get back to my research, and I'll be talking to him a lot more probably. And you'll probably see more cure shows with him. There's a couple of cure shows with him on HIV over there. So, okay, this is what the AIDS epidemic ending actually looks like. You know, it looks like people get safer and safer. That's what it looks like. You know, till finally at some point, somehow, they're able to go off the drugs, or maybe not. That I don't know. But I don't know if it really matters. If nobody dies and we don't mind paying for the drugs, everything's fine, you know. And now all we have to do is see how to find this person. All we have to do is talk about how to find the person who can and will end the HIV epidemic. There is somebody out there who will. It's, you know, just a rare bird. And we don't really know. Is it Brad Pitt? You know, is Brad Pitt somebody who can actually see it and conceive it and make it happen? You know, is it Barack Obama? Is that possible that it's him? Who could, or is it somebody who we've never heard of? You know, it's like you go to a workshop, you know, with 12 people in it, and you show them how to cure things, and this person says, without you even asking, the person says, you know, I could end the HIV epidemic in Africa. And I'm going to. And you never hear from them again until you see them on the news, you know, and they've done it, you know. And yet, it could be. So now I need to talk about manifesting, because it is the only way that we will end the HIV epidemic. You know, and of course, you and I, may not be the person who actually even makes the connection or whatever, you know, but you and I can join hands right now, and we can say, okay, I will manifest this person appearing. That is something that, no matter who you are, you can do that. Let's do it right now, and then I'll go on and tell you more. Be in that hand-holding frame of mind. that marvelous, you know, that we are together on this. Because that much I know about you. If you've watched this movie this long, that much I know about you. We are together on this.